the desert of the real.
Welcome to the Desert of the Real. I am your host, Ryan Hudson.
And I'm your co-host, Jason Dietz.
This is a movie podcast where I force Jason to watch all the big blockbuster movies he's refused to watch because he didn't think they were worth his time. We are currently watching through the MCU. We are two high school English /film /philosophy /creativity teachers with graduate degrees, so we know what we're talking about. Using our academic training,
not in there.
I threw it in for a little jazz.
Okay.
We're using our academic training to dig deeply into movies. We explore the creativity and philosophy and ethics in our movies and push our listeners to think critically about their entertainment, because that's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about.
Thinking critically.
Not being programmed.
Don't be programmed. We're joined today by a special guest.
Mange le mic. Okay.
Oh, see now, Sacre Bleu over here.
I've been learning French for like 453 days.
I have a French. I've had multiple French students.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm like the denouement, they're like denouement. We are joined today by a special guest, my sister.
Hello.
And that is her name. Her name is my sister.
No one's gonna know my name.
You can say
I'm
her
just gonna
name,
be
or do you
Ryan's
wanna
sister.
introduce
My
yourself?
name is Christy Hudson. I am Ryan's sister. I am not an English teacher, but I was an English major. So
Whoops.
She's got credentials.
She has cred. Cred.
And we watched 2015's The Age of Ultron.
I think it's called the Avengers.
Avengers, Age of Ultron. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the second Avengers movie.
Yes. We're almost done.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 4, and 3 and 4
4?
are part 1 and 2. So there's only 3 if you think about it.
yeah, but if you count the last 2 as one, that's like 5 hours in one movie.
Yeah, these are already plenty long. Like this one was like 2.5 hours long.
But okay, I know.
It could have been like an hour and a half.
No, because these need to feel like
Long.
these are events. The Avengers movie is like an event. And that's what part of the fun is like you.
So is a bowel movement, but we don't have 2.5 hour long bowel movement. I'm drinking a Coke. That's an event.
Yeah. I'm drinking Dr. Pepper, and that's a better event.
No. Anyhow, yeah. So Avengers: Age of Ultron at 2 hours and 20 some, way too long for.
That when it came out, a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it, and
Yeah.
I think it's kind of been retroactively like revalued.
Yeah, I think it's reevaluated.
That sounds right. Sounds like
It's an innator. The reevaluationizinator.
it's 141 minutes.
Yeah.
Dietz, do you want to give us a summary of
Is that where we're at?
Age of Ultron? Or Christy can
sure.
give us a summary.
Whoa.
No,
You didn't prepare me for that.
Okay, so we start. So they go in to get the scepter of power.
Sure.
Or the toothpick of power. That's what we'll call it.
That's fine.
The very large toothpick of power.
Mm-hmm.
They get it from Captain Von One Eye. What is his name?
A character that does not matter. Because I don't know.
I had to look up to
Yeah,
remember if he was
Mr.
in the other
Strasser.
ones.
Mr.
Strasser.
Hydra.
Strassemeyer.
Anyhow,
He's doing illegal experimentation on humans.
Mm-hmm.
All of his people die, except for these 2 twins, one of which has amazing frickin' powers, and the other one can only go fast.
to be fair, going fast would be awesome.
Okay, but compared to his sister, he has the Dr. Pepper of soda. So basically just kind of...
I think you're confusing here.
But...
'Cause that would be really good, Dr. Pepper.
Okay, no.
Wait, hold on.
Anyhow.
Do you know what their names are? Their super names?
Wanda and the guy who dies and doesn't matter at all.
Spoilers.
No, what are their superhero names?
Is her name Wanda?
Yeah, her
That is
name's
her name.
Wanda, but what's
Oh.
her superhero name? Anyway,
I bet you're going to tell us.
I'll tell you. So it's
Okay.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
But he's dead, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. But do you know in the comics who their dad is?
Bet you're going to tell us.
Do you know?
Yeah,
You know.
I know.
Yeah,
I
you know. It's Magneto. Isn't that fun?
Wow, that is fun.
But no X-Men in the MCU.
No.
Not at this point.
At the point, Fox owned the rights to X-Men. But what's funny is if you see, what's the one X-Men movie? It's not a good one.
Is it the
Dark Phoenix.
Oh, I didn't even see
He
that
has
one.
Magneto has a daughter in that and can kind of control nature, and that's basically that Scarlet Witch, even though she's barely in the movie.
Scarlet Witch. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Anyhow.
So
That's
we
important
have
context.
one incredibly powerful sibling and one not.
You know,
But-
it is argued that she is the strongest character in the entire MCU
Like, in terms of power.
in terms of power.
Right. She's clearly stronger than all of the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Avengers.
and like, so you're saying it like it's this whatever, but
No, I'm saying I'm recognizing that she is awesome.
yeah,
And
She is awesome.
also she has a brother.
she does have a brother.
This is kind of like your sister.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
awesome and
yeah,
she also
exactly.
has a brother.
People have.
There's the one sibling with the great powers and her brother.
I'm just kidding.
What's so funny is
You know
Joss
I love you,
Whedon.
Ryan.
He said before the movie came out, we're gonna add Quicksilver and it's gonna be awesome. And
wasn't.
people at the time were like, Quicksilver's an X-Men. Quicksilver's a mutant. How you can do it? That's all we got, and it
he
isn't.
died.
It's not as awesome. As
Yeah,
it
because
could
I
be.
think about halfway through, they're like, wow, this guy kind of just meh.
What makes it significantly less awesome is X-Men: Days of Future Past,
Which is awesome.
which has an incredible Quicksilver scene,
Oh.
These were like happening at the same time.
which came out like the same year.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Did you see that one?
I did see all the X-Men,
When, like,
which were amazing.
Quicksilver puts his headphones
Unlike
on
this.
and runs on the walls.
I don't
If
remember
time
that.
could put time
Your
in our
memory is
bottles.
That's like the
Oh.
only part of that movie I remember.
It's like the
yeah.
it's like the, he
It was like the best
messes
part of
with
that
all the
movie.
people in slow motion, pushes bullets around.
Oh, yeah, I do
Yeah,
remember
That's
that.
quick. So that came
do
out,
remember that.
and this came out, and they're both the same character.
And this guy sucks. And
There is brand new hot news that dropped.
Do tell.
This guy,
I don't know.
Aaron Taylor
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Johnson, he is
Who
British.
is, of course.
He's Quicksilver.
Oh, okay.
He was also in Bullet Train as one of the guys with the mustache.
Oh.
Might be the next James Bond.
Interesting.
Okay.
I don't know if that's official, but that's what like the current news as of yesterday. It's like rumor has it that's what they're going for.
Cool. So we're 13 minutes in now.
Do you have somewhere to be, Deets? Do you
No,
have a
but I'm
heart
trying-
out?
Because I'm gonna be having to edit this because there's all this stuff in here that has nothing to do with anything,
Leave a lot.
except for the little runny boy guy being James Bond is pertinent.
Yes.
I admit that.
There is one more thing.
It's not really pertinent to the summary, which is where we're at
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, we haven't even.
Fine.
But-
gotten
Let me
I'm just
let me
saying.
make my tangent list over here and prepare for the summary.
Okay, so we have introduced the fight. We have introduced the toothpick of power. And so they break in, they get the toothpick of power, they meet Scarlet Witch and her brother who do things to them, including Iron Man seeing the death of everything and everyone, which if he had a heart would impact him. But he does not. And so he doesn't really care. You're just going to sit there and look at me now, huh? You suck. I'm just saying, tangent smallishly. Anyhow. So they get the toothpick of power. Yeah.
We should get t-shirts that say tangent smallishly. I'll just tangent
you can be-
smallishly.
Okay, thank you.
Christy, feel free to jump in whenever. By the
Yeah,
way.
because
Yeah.
we're going for 3 hours. I want to make this as long as
It's gonna be
possible.
the longest podcast.
So, okay, anyhow. So they get the toothpick of power. They take it back to the base of power where they play with the toothpick of power. And apparently Iron Man has a super secret side quest that he wants to destroy the world by creating sentient AI. slash like couched in the idea of keeping the world safe, which never ever goes wrong in any other movie ever. So what I got from this is that Iron Man's character has never ever seen a science fiction movie in his life.
Yeah,
So
but he's in a science fiction movie, so it might work out for him.
But okay, yeah, and so he creates.
Wait, what they should have done is gone to Wakanda. You know what I mean? They could have.
I know.
Nobody knows what Wakanda is.
They mentioned it in this movie.
I did. I heard
Yeah.
that, and I knew it's some important crap where they hide. Apparently, God created the earth. He put all of the precious stuff in Wakanda.
Oh, it came
Yes.
from a meteor.
Whatever.
I think.
Oh, okay. Anyhow,
Sounds right.
so yes, so Iron Man creates this sentient AI named Ultron. What a shock! Ultron is not our friend.
You know what's so funny?
What?
In the comics, do you know who invented Ultron in the comics?
Hank Pym.
Hank Pym did it. Do you know who?
No.
Ant-Man. Anyway, what's
I
so
still
funny?
think that's hilarious. There's a guy called Ant-Man.
when they invented Ultron in the comics, they gave him evil eyes right at the beginning. It's like, Ultron will be good. It's like, then why did you make him look evil, Hank Pym?
Anyway, so
I'll look up a picture to show
he
you.
immediately kills
Jarvis.
He immediately, quote unquote, killed Jarvis, and then he attacks the Avengers and runs away.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh crap, what have you done? And then they start trying to figure out, how do we stop Ultron? So Ultron, however, is literally everywhere, which doesn't, anyhow. So the end of this movie makes no sense at all. But he's literally anywhere there is computer stuff, that's where Ultron is. Great. So they're fighting Ultron, but not really. They're just fighting. It's like fighting the leaves of a tree is basically what they're doing.
That's a good metaphor, Deez.
Okay, thank you. I'm an English teacher, so I metaphor smallly. So yeah,
Smallish.
so they're fighting all of these leaves, making zero progress at all. They trace him to this city, with an S, somewhere. I thought it was significant because they said it like 400 times.
Well,
It's actually pretty significant in future movies.
Oh, okay. So whatever the name of that place is,
Sokovia.
Sokovia.
For the listeners.
which is not a real country.
It's not a real country.
I didn't think. Yeah.
I
Okay.
probably did when I first saw it. I'm like, Sokovia, that probably
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah, that sounds real enough.
So they get to Sokovia to fight Ultron's leaves.
Yeah.
And somehow Ultron picks up a huge chunk of the city. Somehow.
Science. I don't know.
Well, okay, but science would suggest that as soon as you pick up a huge chunk of a city, it crumbles.
No,
Unless,
there was a core thing that made a thing around it.
yeah,
to
whatever.
They explained it in a way
They
that's
made some bullcrap
probably-
explanation. No.
It's
No.
a giant evil robot that can think for itself.
Great, I got that. You pick up a chunk. Go try it. When you get home, dig up a large chunk of your yard.
I bet I could.
Pick it up
I bet
and
I
see
could.
what happens.
I could do it.
Okay, anyhow, so the movie excuses the fact that makes no sense by having 3 glowing orbs embedded in the rock.
I believe it.
I did not.
I think it works.
Well, great. We'll assume that it works. So the stupidest part of this movie is so they all know what Ultron's going to do with this rock. And it's climbing in the air. And what are they doing? Are they stopping the rock from climbing into the air to save literally the entire planet? No. All of the Avengers are saving individual people on the rock that is climbing while the rock continues to climb.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
To save their
I
lives.
don't know, because the whole planet is going to explode, but at least this kid wait, that kid will also die when the planet explodes. So what are they doing? They're
They're
freaking wasting time and creating artificial tension, which pissed me off.
This is like the...
Yeah, we're back to the original summary here because this end of the last 400 hours of this pissed me off. So they're
No, that wasn't the end of the movie.
screwing around, saving little kids while this gets higher and higher. They know darn well that the higher it gets, the more the impact will be, but they're still, and one guy I think stops off for a hot dog or something. Hawkeye stops and has this nice 4-minute conversation with WandaVision or whatever what is her name, Scarlet Witch, and they're just like, we're just chilling in this room while the rock rises, and your hair looks really good, and he's like, you got a little stubble, it's looking real manly there.
Getting edited out. That's all I can say.
And they're just talking, and they're like, oh, have you tried the new lemonade at Starbucks? And they're like, and meanwhile, the rock is still rising into the sky. Okay, so then they continue fighting the Lees, and then they finally figure out, how are we going to save the planet and get all of the people off? Maybe we should have thought about that when it was like 4 inches off of the ground instead of frickin' 5 miles in the air.
Don't interrupt. Then you throw all these ridiculous things.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
So then, the God in the machine shows up.
That's the real reason the summary takes 45 minutes.
No, my part of this started 4.5 minutes ago. Okay, anyhow, the God in the machine shows up in the form of massive flying platforms. And they load all of the people on. We had to get rid of the lame sibling, and so we have this stupid scene where, there's literally no reason at all that he dies, but what is his name? Running around boy.
So you're mad that people don't die, and then you're mad that people do die.
No, I'm not mad that people don't die.
You just said
I'm mad that they
I have a witness to this.
It's a classic
also, check the recording.
forest. It's a classic forest for the trees situation. Where they're worried about the trees when the whole forest is burning down. They're
That's
like,
what makes them a hero.
That would make them stupid. Anyhow, so Runaround Boy dies.
Yeah.
And then something happens. The rock starts falling, and then somehow magically they blow it up. Even though it makes no sense that blowing it up would not cause damage to the planet, because it's still the same big of rock, but somehow
it's
blowing it up,
but
they blow it up I think 4.5 inches above the planet. So I think it would do anyhow. Whatever. Somewhere along the lines, they made Vision, who is actually really cool. I liked Vision. And Vision helps out something and does something. And really the only thing that Vision does at the end of the movie is he takes out the last Ultron. But I'm assuming that since Ultron is literally everywhere in all of the interwebs, that the only thing that would make sense at the end of this movie is if Ultron is secretly hiding somewhere in the interwebs.
Time will
Otherwise,
Time will tell.
this whole movie makes no sense at all.
Okay, first off,
the end.
Thank you. Well, and Vision did lock him out of the internet at the end.
Okay.
It was established.
They do say that.
They just had to kill off all the ones.
They did say that. Yes.
He grabs his head and he's like, okay, now he can't.
Because he was like...
Yeah, he couldn't leave the...
Right. I recall that.
So they could keep him stuck on that.
I think
stuck
that
on
that's
Sokovia.
not true.
The thing of Ultron,
that's fair.
though.
That's
the
fair.
thing of Ultron in the comics is you can never beat him the same way twice.
Right, because he's everywhere.
Because he, just learns.
Right.
He's a growing machine.
So you can't beat him. But anyhow, the end. Okay.
Well, I think when he was created, the internet wasn't what it is today.
2015. It was still...
Yeah.
No, not the movie, the character.
I read a comment that was like, Ultron spent 8 minutes looking through the internet and decided that the humans needed to die.
Yeah, I think that's what he did.
That's a good point. It's like,
yeah.
Well, that's what makes him interesting. I thought you would grasp onto something.
No, I did. I loved the philosophy and the ethics of this movie.
Yeah. I mean,
I just hate the absolute asinineness of the movie.
Yeah.
Specifically of the Avengers.
Yeah, you texted me. You were like, "Why do you like this movie?"
Yes.
Or these movies, and I'm like, "They're fun."
Because I've listened to your podcast as I was watching the movie, I was like, he's going to hate this one.
Okay,
I
see?
just know it.
Your sister knew already.
Yeah.
And I don't know you very well.
That you're being
so-
predictable.
No. Okay. Go.
You're being predictable.
Do your thing.
Can I do my tangent now?
Yeah.
Okay, so another movie that came out this year, 2015, was Godzilla.
Okay.
And in Godzilla, the two of the main characters was the actress Elizabeth Olsen, sister of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. I didn't know that for like the longest time.
They look like exactly the same, right?
I didn't know that though.
The one who plays Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, Aaron Taylor Johnson. The same year, Godzilla, they were a married couple. So audiences were like,
Wait, the siblings?
Yeah. So
we-
they were like, oh, they're married 1 second, and now they're brother and sister.
Yeah.
This is kind of weird.
They grew up in Kentucky then.
that movie's good. Godzilla.
It doesn't matter now because no one associates those movies
Yeah.
like they do when they came out around the same time. But.
Right. But at the time, it was funny.
And there's also, like, I read, like, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he took him, like, a year to decide to even do this movie, but he was, like, comforted because his co-star from Godzilla was going to be his sister in this one.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, my friend, yeah, I'll go be in that movie with her
Nice.
again. I like her.
I'm thankful the fake Russian accent leaves. That wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It was Sokovian. I think it was spot on.
That's a perfect Sokovian
A perfect
accent.
Sokovian accent. That's how they sound there.
Let me check that off the tangent list.
Okay, tangent list. There's only 14 more things on there, so.
Okay.
Where do we go? Pros?
Positives first. I think this movie, it starts out in media res, in the middle of an action scene. But we get a kind of a classic Joss Whedon opener where it's just like an extended one take
Yeah.
where you introduce everyone. And not that one take equals good, but one take equals they thought about this and they planned this and they wanted it to be different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You see every single Avenger doing something all in one continuous shot, and it ends with like the action shot because
Yeah.
they can't do the circle around. Not yet.
No, we haven't earned that yet. For
We
this
haven't
movie.
earned that yet, but they do the jumping in the air at the same time.
Yeah.
And
do a
that
quick
is the
slow-mo
moment that I knew this movie was going to suck. And they're like,
Freeze frame.
That is the moment that I knew you were going to hate this
yeah.
movie.
So, anyhow.
Another in Serenity, like he opens his movie the same way.
Someday I'm going to have to watch that.
Yeah, like you get first off introduction to every single character. You get what the ship is like on the inside, all the rooms, all in one take type of thing. It's like a little taste of like here are our
right.
people. This is what's going on type of thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not having a full introduction to all these characters, because we assume you already know them from the other movies.
Yeah.
However, you still need a way into this movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always wonder what it's going to be like for future generations to watch Avengers movies because
They won't.
They're not going to appreciate it.
it's going to just be
I think
different.
there will be good movies in the future, so
I don't know.
we won't have to worry about that. One thing I will say about the opening scene is they successfully obscured the fact that Hawkeye and Black Widow really aren't superheroes.
They talk about that
Like
all
they
the time.
did a great job doing that.
In,
So
like
that was good.
people like you were like an actual like mom, but like Hawkeye had
was
multiple
that?
scenes where he's like, I'm a guy with a bow and arrow,
Right. So what is he doing there? Get rid of him.
He could still help out.
He helped that one kid. He saved his life.
Okay, yeah. And he had a really
Hero.
good Starbucks conversation right near the end with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, Wanda.
And no one could have done that
That's fun.
but Hawkeye. Other good stuff.
No, there's lots of good stuff.
There is actually quite a bit of good stuff.
Actually, speaking of camera movement, I think this movie looks a lot better than the first Avengers. Like we said earlier in the other episode. Kinda looks... The lighting is more reminiscent of a TV set than like a movie set. But this movie doesn't remind me that of all. I think it's more dramatic and cinematic. And there's like even some shots that are easy to just take for granted. The other one I wrote down is the Sentinels are going back into the tower. And then the camera like follows it, watches the Sentinels getting worked on and stuff, and then goes through the glass. We see Hulk walk over here, then Iron Man walk over here. So like the camera like following people walking up. There's some cool shots. Like,
yeah, for sure. The camera stuff was cool.
Uh-huh.
There was a number of, like you said, number of cool stuff. You did mention like the camera following them in. The tech stuff in this movie is really cool. Like it's really a big step up from like Iron Man type stuff. Like it all looks cool. It looks like not like somebody put it together in their garage, but very smooth, very cool looking. So the tech stuff I thought was really cool in this movie.
Ooh, I do need to ask you, because you watch these movies edited.
Yes.
2 questions. First, did it have when the scene where they're trying to pick up Thor's hammer?
Yes.
Did it have the
Yes.
joke that reinstating
It's not that funny.
Freeman knocked out?
No,
Yes, it is.
not
It's
that
hilarious.
It just emphasizes the fact that Iron Man is a butthole. He's like this misogynistic loser that shouldn't be in a movie.
No,
if he is in a movie, it should be.
It's also a
it should be a movie about how the police catch this guy and put him in prison. That's what it should be about. I hate Iron Man. Sorry. All Iron Man fans, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that was established that you hate
Yes.
Iron Man. I think we all know that.
Oh, yeah,
He
3
sucks.
episodes about it.
Anyhow.
Actually, listening to some of your episodes, I'm pretty sure it comes up in every episode, no matter what movie
So
you're
goes out of his way in a Thor movie to say how much he hates Iron Man.
It did. It came up in the Oculus one too, I think.
When we're doing Star Wars later down the road.
This reminds me of how much I hate Iron Man. Anyhow.
What about there was a running joke about Captain America calling language.
Yeah.
Because
That was funny.
in college, a buddy of mine rented this movie from a box. A movie rental box that wasn't Redbox because they edited these movies. And I was like watching and I was like, wait a second. It's editing out a joke that's pretty... It like took out the whole reference because they took out like the one...
Oh no, it
They
didn't.
took out, like, him saying the swear word, so they took out all of
They
the
took
references
out the
to Cap
jokes
saying-
around it. I'm like, we're missing something
Language.
right here.
Oh no, my editing is much better than that. It's very point
Yeah.
specific.
See, I liked, and this will always come back to Joss Whedon, the Joss Whedon dialogue, but I like that stuff. I think
too.
it makes
I
them
actually
feel
didn't.
like buddies, people who like to talk.
I did not like the dialogue. That's one of my negatives.
Well,
I like the dialogue, too.
Because last week we watched Guardians.
yeah.
The dialogue in there is, I think, as close to flawless as we're ever going to get. It all felt natural. It all felt smooth. It all felt seamless. Here, it felt forced. Not all of the times, but a lot of the times the banter felt kind of forced to me. But, I'm a hater and whatever. So
Yeah.
that was one of my eye rolls. Okay. I'll give you the whole thing, and then we don't have to come back to it. Now that
Your
we're at-
positives?
No, negative.
Oh,
well,
okay.
no, we can come back to it later. Okay.
Okay.
I love the Black Widow and the Hulk thing.
You do like that?
I love that because
Interesting.
what?
Interesting.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it was just one of those things people were like, are they forcing this romance
Yeah,
in this movie?
that-
No,
out of
I
nowhere?
loved it.
I also like it, and I like it more now because I feel like I noticed more like it's not just her connecting with the Hulk, or not with Bruce Banner, but also with the Hulk. Like
Right.
the
Yeah.
fact that she's the one capable of calming him down, especially because if you look at the arc that at the beginning of the first Avengers, she was genuinely afraid of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
That's-
I appreciate it more now. But I was always like, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. They got a little
Oh
thing
no,
going
I
on,
loved
but
it. It's like from a psychological standpoint, I think it's magnificent.
Yeah.
Because they're healing each other. Yeah, I love Bruce Banner. The end. Like, he is such... Like, and I don't. Okay, I'll be honest. I genuinely don't understand how you guys cannot see the difference between Bruce Banner and his character and like Iron Man and Captain America and Thor. Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor are all almost one-dimensional characters. Bruce Banner is this deep, rich,
Oh no, I agree with
psychologically
you.
complex character, and I don't understand how he's in a movie with the other three people. Because the other three people, they're just like one-note characters. So I love Bruce Banner. I loved the romance there. I love how they're like healing each other. That was great.
I like that.
Yeah, I love James Spader.
Yeah.
He's so
He's
good.
so good.
He's so good in this
He's
movie.
good in this, but he's good in just about everything I've ever
yeah.
seen him in.
Did you know he was on set? Like, he wasn't just a voice. He was, like, acting stuff out.
They
And
actually
when he's big Ultron...
they created the software for like specifically because they wanted to be able to do the motion capture body and face at the same time.
Yeah.
So that the actors for Ultron and Hulk could be on set with the other actors. Like usually they haven't been able to do that before this. And so this time they were able to act with each other, which makes it kind of more impressive because even on set people were like, James Spader, man, he's like, his performance is amazing as he's wearing this like this suit to be like CGI'd and these like tall.
He's got like
stilts
poles
with-
on his back to say this is where his head will be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but people were like, wow, his performance for, he doesn't look like Ultron on set, but they were still blown away by his performance as Ultron.
They
He's so good.
They do it for Hulk, and they'll do it for Thanos and stuff. But,
Yeah.
there's a funny joke in Deadpool 2 with Juggernaut is this big muscle guy. He's like coming to Deadpool, and Deadpool's like, "Easy, fella, sun's getting real low." I think it's like ripped in half or whatever. Here's my. Can I say what my favorite thing is in this movie? Like,
No.
okay, well, okay.
So moving on to my favorite game. Go ahead.
Okay, so I love like Ultron's like the bad guy, but in a more real sense, their fears are the real villain here.
Right.
And Wanda shows them all their biggest fears, and I think, well, like you said, they're all one-dimensional. This movie like pumps the brake and be like, let's look at these people here. In fact, besides the fear, they go to the farmhouse. The studio is like, let's get rid of that. Let's cut that down. It's stopping the movie. But Whedon's like, if you cut this out, I'm walking away type of thing.
Yeah, that was one of the best parts of the movie.
It needed that. Because they needed to take a pause and evaluate their situation with Ultron and the fears that they just saw.
Yeah. They
needed that. The characters needed it.
And I think all of their fears are interesting.
Yeah.
Tony, this is, you don't like this, and I've not even realized since this podcast rewatch, this has been growing for Tony. He started as a hero, or no, he became Iron Man, whatever. But then it wasn't until Avengers, he's like, there's a world out there, and we almost lost our world because of it. Iron Man 3, he's stressing out about it, having anxiety about it. It's like, I need to protect the world. That's where this idea of I need to build a suit of armor around the world. Like, you didn't see up there. I did. I'm going to protect the world. That's why he built Ultron. He saw all his friends die. And like it says in the movie, but you weren't dead, and that's worse somehow. Like, you didn't die with them. Mm-hmm. I think Tony is interesting and a good character.
Good.
And then Thor, he's like, his fear is not as clear, but it's like, you'll be king. Are you going to lead your people to ruin, building up the next Thor movie? And then Captain America, I think it's interesting. On the outside, like, yeah, he's fine. He's doing his thing. But on the inside, he's like, I don't belong here. I belong in my time.
Yeah, he's still a man out of time.
I'm a man out of time, and that actually does upset me type of thing. Like, I'll do whatever I need to do.
But he also can't reconcile war and peace together. Like, he's imagining a party about peace. He's still seeing war.
And I think
Okay,
that sure, Dr. Deeds.
No, I just want to ask you a question about those three.
Yeah.
So Iron Man's response to his vision is, I need to
Yeah.
do something.
Exactly.
Not we need, not I need to work with my team, not I should bring in all of these other brilliant people to help us prevent this. It's I.
Right.
That doesn't reinforce what I already think about him, in your opinion?
I think that makes him more dynamic character.
He also kind of does
How?
because he says when he gets Bruce to help him out, and he's like, "You want me to help you do this?" And Tony's like, "No, I want to help you do this because you're the one who can do this."
Right.
He does get the help. He knows that he can't do it necessarily by himself.
Yeah.
But I feel like it does fit with his character, even though he's become part of the team.
Yeah.
He
not
still
part of the team.
still has a hard time being part of a team,
Right.
especially when their opinions are different.
One of my biggest gripes about this movie has always been, but in Iron Man 3, you gave up the suits. You blew them all up.
Right.
And to prepare for this, I was watching a video essay on YouTube, and this guy was saying how it just reinforces like this addictive attitude Tony has.
Yeah.
Like in the comics, he deals with alcoholism and stuff. But like in Tony, he can give it up but he also can't. In fact, in this movie, he's like, let's build an Ultron. It didn't work. He comes back, let's do it again. I can't not
How
do this.
How stupid can he be?
But that's him. He's like, he can't let it go.
Right. You and I are saying the same thing.
And I'm saying it's
you
good,
saying
and you're
it's
saying
good,
it's
and
bad.
I'm saying he should be put in a prison. Anyhow.
Well, if it makes you happy.
Does he go to jail?
They're going to... This movie will have consequences.
Yeah, they
I
will.
imagine
They don't
so.
get off scotch-free. And that...
This movie is actually a pretty big turning point in the
Super
MCU.
important in the
Like,
MCU.
there's the stuff in this movie is referenced like
For
forever now.
For the rest of the
For the
series.
rest of the series, yeah.
Because of the things you have gripes with.
Oh, good.
See?
Yeah.
So they're going to resolve them.
We'll see. I
Oh,
don't
well,
know.
then apparently greater minds than mine also had the same gripes, and they went and figured it. Get wrecked! Okay, anyhow. Okay, so I did mention the dialogue that I didn't care for it. The exception to that is the Ultron dialogue.
Yeah.
At like literally everything James Spader said, I feel like is spot on and perfect.
I feel like out of all the TV shows, maybe you should watch WandaVision.
WandaVision was my favorite of
And
all
what
of
is
them.
WandaVision? Because when I said WandaVision, you both laughed. So.
Because Wanda...
And Vision.
Right.
Well...
They get together or something and have...
No, just because
Little-
you said it like you said it was her name. That's
Right.
her name plus his name.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
got
why.
it.
That's why. And it's the name of that show. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this might... People won't agree. I think it's the best one. So.
I also think it's the best one.
Cool.
Anyway.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Not
Because
not
I
yet.
actually like
When you
both
get
of
there.
those characters a lot.
I think you'd like that one.
It's a unique one. Like, it's different from all
Some
the
of
other ones.
The other shows, even if I like some of them, maybe not worth your time.
Okay.
Unless
A
we
lot
get-
of them, I think, should have just been movies
I
and
agree.
not series that stretch out for 8 hours. They
Yeah.
should have just been 2-hour
Yeah.
movies in the MCU.
So a couple of other things I've really liked. Hawkeye having a family I loved.
Yeah.
That was that whole chunk when they're at the farm was great.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that a lot. And then the last thing, I love that Vision can pick up the hammer. And
Yeah.
all of the other losers on the team cannot pick up the
Did you
hammer.
like that scene,
Although
though?
they didn't invite Hulk to pick up the hammer.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they did.
did.
He did it. He
Not
tried.
Hulk.
Oh,
Well, technically...
that's because they don't want him to Hulk out in the tower. That's,
Well, right,
that's a
but
scary
I'm thinking maybe Hulk could have done it. I don't know.
Well, technically, let me push up my glasses. in the first Avengers movie, Hulk and Thor are fighting in the helicarrier.
Yeah.
And Hulk grabs the hammer and he tries to pick it up in that movie.
Oh, okay.
And it like
Well, but
sinks his feet into the ground because it's so
I
heavy.
remember
you
that.
know?
Well, maybe now that he's had some healing through Black Widow, maybe he could pick it up.
I just
Anyhow.
Black
I
Widow
just
made
love
him
that.
worthy of the
It's
hammer.
like Tony and what's his name? Rhodey.
Rhodey.
They're like, are you even pulling? Like,
Yeah.
represent.
That
Stuff's
scene,
fun.
Yeah,
That's a fun scene.
sure. It's like it just emphasizes that these guys are just these one-dimensional muscle people, and the fact that they can't pick up the hammer, like I think enforces that they're not worthy. They're not good people.
Captain America can make a move. You see that?
Huh? Yeah, a little bit. And Thor was a little worried, but then...
Which is fun.
Yeah, so... But, I
funny.
mean, they can't pick it up.
I know,
So that
but
tells us about these characters.
Yeah, but who could pick it up? Like, do you think
I
you know
could.
someone?
Mr. Rogers could.
Oh, yeah.
Mr.
Mr.
Rogers probably
Rogers,
could, for sure.
Jesus Christ. I'm sure he could, like... He'd just be like... He could probably think it up. He'd
Yeah.
just be like...
Okay, here's the thing. They had that whole point of the scene was like, if only there was some way we can know if we can trust this with trust Vision. And Vision's like, here's the hammer.
He's like, it's like, I don't know how to make you believe me, but we gotta go and fix up
Yeah.
the hammer. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, never, maybe he is
Which
worth it.
is a fun setup and payoff.
I agree.
But I'm also like, why is Thor necessarily better than any of these
He's not.
guys? I don't know if I've ever thought I liked that rule that this movie made up. You know?
Well, I mean, it's the rule.
Yeah.
It's
But like Captain America,
mythological,
he's
so-
a good guy. Why is Hulk not a good guy? You know, that type of stuff.
Yeah, like
Well-
what is worthy? How about
Yeah, Tony maybe like what? Never mind. I
No,
was
that's
giving you fodder here.
we're going into the philosophy of the real. So, but yeah, Tony, what? He
Like,
sucks. He's
what-
a loser.
He does give billions of dollars to charities. He like what qualifies good? You know.
Okay, so we've got. I don't remember. Maybe it was in Breaking Bad. There's a character, a part of the Hispanic cartel.
Yeah.
He brings in this massive sack of money and gives it to the priest. Is that in Breaking Bad? He's like,
Probably.
absolve me of my sins or whatever. Paying money does not. It's not a thing.
Helps poor people though. Anyway.
It does. And it helps assuage the guilt of being a butthole. Although apparently it's not working for Tony. He needs to give more money or something.
Are you worried about AI in real life?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is kind of like be careful of AI type of story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally every story ever written, as far as I know, that has AI in it is like, don't do
Yeah.
it. And we're blithely just
make it-
hopping.
make it
Well,
smarter and smarter.
I need something to open my fridge for me without using my hands.
That would be nice,
Hey
though.
Google, open my fridge. Like, never mind. Google's plotting to destroy the planet. Any other positives?
Oh, I have just some lines that I liked a lot.
Yeah.
Like when there's like, who's this guy selling vibranium? Some claw. And it's like, oh, I know that guy. He looks at Tony. Tony's like, there are conventions, you know.
That was funny. That was funny.
And then I like the fight between Iron Man and Hulk. I mean, it might just be fan service to like get the Hulk Buster in here, the big suit, but also that leads into Hulk's biggest fear is what have I done or what could I do as Hulk, and that that pushes him to flying away by himself at the end. But their whole fight, it's actually, he like punches Hulk, he like spits out a tooth, and Tony's like, I'm sorry. How quickly can we buy this building? Like, anyway.
Yeah, I realize that I'm probably the only person that is done with the fights at this point. Like, they're just,
Well, I guess.
I don't know, they just seem pointless to me because nobody ever gets hurt.
What about
Nothing
Quicksilver?
He was not.
Hawkeye got hurt
anything.
in the beginning fight.
Yeah, he got hurt.
They had to put some stuff on him,
He
and
got
then
a
he was
little.
All right, should
Anyhow,
I throw in?
Wait, but that just reinforces the fact that Hawkeye doesn't belong here.
Okay,
He
but
doesn't. He's not, I don't even know why he's there.
This is one of my negatives. Is
Much as I love him.
Hawkeye's talking to his wife, and she's like, "I think they need you more than you need them." Like, I was like, "Why though?"
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually one of my negatives.
They're
for this
trying
movie.
to set up some reason for him to be there, and they're like, well, fail.
They do kind of have to reach for it because he's got a bow and arrow and no superpowers.
Yeah, I genuinely have no idea why he's
But
there.
I feel like in this one they give him a family so that he can we're like, oh, he's the dad. He's the one who's able to give the pep talk to Scarlet Witch
Yeah,
and get her
because he's
get
a
her to
paternal figure.
because he's the paternal
Sure.
figure. And he kind of ends up being that way, I feel like, with a lot of them, not just, the new ones, but, and he's the one, I've, read a thing, it's like, he's got the foot in reality for the viewers because his stakes, we know his stakes now. He has a family outside of the Avengers. A lot of them are fighting, as Avengers, and that's kind of, they're trying to save the world, but, they don't have that personal stake that Hawkeye does.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't like the other three.
So there's a shot that is basically the final shot of the Searchers, which is one of the most iconic shots in all filmography. John Wayne standing in the doorway, so it's like a frame within a frame, just isolating him even more. But Captain America does the same thing at the farm. He looks in, sees the family. He's on the porch. Thor just flew away or whatever. And it's just him, but it's not just by himself. It's a frame within a frame because of the door frame. Because remember, his fear, he does feel alone in this new world type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't belong inside the farm, but Thor just flew away and he's all alone outside the farm too, so.
Yeah. There are some great shots, like you already said. And I'll just, right now, here at Just Leaving the Pros, I will say I didn't, this is not the worst one of them. There were a lot of things I liked about this movie, but there were more things that I disliked about it than Guardians. So I think Guardians has kind of poisoned the well for me.
Yeah.
We have this almost perfect superhero movie, and then we move into, this, which is not a terrible movie, but compared to Guardians, I think it just doesn't hold up.
I think I told you off, Mike. I personally think the Guardians trilogy is the best trilogy. And this whole series is just trilogies mixed in together.
Right.
Including Avengers. If Endgame
Part 1 and 2, yeah.
Infinity War.
Which is a trilogy, 4-part trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy, which is also 4 parts. But that's on purpose. These guys, I guess, can't count to 3 or something.
The other one that I liked a lot, a quote, is when Tony and Captain America are butting heads because he wants to make another Ultron. Obviously, seems like it's a bad idea, but then it makes Vision. Anyway, but he's like...
But not because Tony made Vision. It just kind of accidentally happened.
Yeah, right.
So you can't defend Tony. Anyhow.
But I think it's... Oh, the line they say, how were you planning on beating that up there? Like the space stuff, like I was mentioning earlier. And Captain America says, together. And Iron Man says, we'll lose. So then we'll do that together too. I like that, Deets.
I like it too because it highlights their difference. Tony's still struggling with being a team. Cap just wants them to be a team.
Yeah.
He wants them to do this together.
Right.
And he still thinks they have a chance only if they're together. Whereas Tony thinks that he himself has to take on the responsibility of protecting the entire world.
Right. Yeah. So
Which is
literally
unreasonable.
Everything we say about Iron Man reinforces my issue.
I know, but we like it and you don't.
Yeah, I think it's good. You think it's bad.
But they're not together. I don't think they're ever going to be together.
Well,
I don't think we're ever going to get past Tony's pride.
I don't know either, but that's who he
yes,
is.
you do, but I know. I don't think we're ever going to get
There's a
there.
little movie coming up called Civil War.
Cool. Oh.
You'll hear the word
Where
Sokovia in that movie a lot.
We've already talked about a lot of my negatives. Do you have any other positive things before we move into...
I just Ultron's philosophy things.
Yeah,
I don't know if I was
Ultron
saving
philosophy
it for
stuff
you,
is
but
awesome.
I think it's interesting. He's like, we need to evolve. His whole thing is evolution.
Yep.
And he's like, humans can't evolve, so I'm going to do it for them type of
Yep.
thing. I think that's super cool.
Yes, I agree.
And then he talks with Vision at the very end, which is super funny in an ironic way, because Vision says, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts.
Yeah.
Which, if we're talking about the MCU, which is super funny and ironic, it's never going to end. But as...
No, that's actually true. Then.
Right. But
Vision's right.
But for this moment, it's like, yeah, humans aren't perfect. They confuse order and chaos and think that they're different things because they're trying to control life. But no, like, they are their own thing, and that's good. Like, I like that.
Yeah, that closing conversation, I think, is probably my favorite my favorite scene so far in all of MCU.
Yeah.
I loved that. It was awesome.
And I have a negative, but it's more like a nitpick because it doesn't affect the story at all. Because Ultron evolves, I think, 4 times in this movie. He starts as the broken one, like this. And then we see him again, and then Tony Stark blows that one up. And we see him again, and then a bigger version blows that one up.
Yeah.
I wish the second one didn't have the face yet. Because in the comics, Ultron usually just has, like, a simple, like, flat face. But my main thing is, I wish before we got to him having eyes and lips and stuff, his face wasn't as high-tech yet. Only for the second iteration. No one else on the planet cares about this except for me, but I
feel like that a lot, Ryan. I'm with you. I'm with you.
I do remember when the trailer dropped for this one, me being like, okay, we can really tell that Disney now owns the MCU. They used the song from Pinocchio.
I loved that.
Me too.
I thought that was awesome.
I was like, oh yeah, there's Disney. Disney's like, we can put anything in here now because we own it. So
that's like the whole trailer.
But I love the trailer. Like, I remember specifically that night I was in college when the trailer dropped because I was staying up all night doing a paper because I had terrible study habits. And I watched the trailer like so many times that night as I was working on my paper, just watching it over and over. Like, I'm so pumped for this movie. Awesome. I was so excited.
That reminds me, because this is the last movie that came out when I was on my mission. And we were literally all in a bus, all these missionaries, to go to the mission home, to go home. On the bus ride to the mission home, there's this one elder. He's like, guys, I have to admit something. We saw Avengers. And then he's like, man, it's so great, but it's so sad when Quicksilver gets mowed down by the bullets. And I'm like, what? We literally haven't seen this movie.
Why do you think we know?
That's like the second thing he says is Quicksilver gets mowed down by the bullets.
Wait, and he thought that was sad?
Yeah. That was sad.
Okay.
But that's basically the first thing I learned about this movie was Quicksilver dies at the end.
That is sad.
Why would he tell you that?
Boy, lads.
That's so
pretty funny.
Negatives.
We've already talked about a lot of mine.
Yeah.
Like the dialogue, I feel is kind of grating. The battles, I'm pretty over them, but we're only a third of the way through, so I'm assuming we're going to be subjected to
There's only one more phase.
more and more battles.
Yeah, are you guys gonna stop after?
No, I sure
No,
hope
we're
so.
gonna get to Deadpool 3 and then we'll be done.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And actually, it'll just be me because that movie will be anyway.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, because they don't have.
I agree. The dialogue I think is good, but also
I didn't say the dialogue was good.
No, I said that.
Oh, you said I agree.
But the caveat was the dialogue does kind of be like, some of these lines maybe don't land.
Yeah. So the dialogue, the battles, Ultron being a single entity that they can defeat, I don't understand why the movie didn't get that, or why the Avengers didn't get that.
I feel like that he should come up again as a threat later on. Like, I feel like he should. Because how do you eradicate artificial intelligence?
Yeah,
like,
you don't.
Because I feel that way too. I really, because I, as someone who likes this movie, I also am like, but how? Like, I feel like they should explain somehow, how are we going to actually get rid of this threat that...
Yeah.
Somehow Ultron returned.
Because tearing apart the robots, that's not going to kill it.
Right, it does nothing.
Well, it does at the end when they cut him off from the internet.
Yeah.
He's got nowhere to go but these robots.
Okay,
but I feel like it could still be a living threat.
Whatever.
And maybe it should still be a living threat, but it's not.
But they cut him off from the internet. Isn't that like after the horses... Mm-hmm. And the cows and the pigs and the sheep are all escaped from the barn, now we'll shut the door. Like, he's already in the internet.
Yeah,
he's there. He's everywhere. Now we're going to cut him off. What is that going to do? That's going to shut him into the internet. Anyhow, the logical flaw there,
They need Tron to go save
as much as I loved the Ultron character, that was annoying
You're gonna
to
need
me.
some big, serious antivirus
Yes.
protection to keep him
Yes.
out of the whole internet. Yeah.
The shield is just going to be an issue for me. The whole the whole time. We already talked about the drama, quote unquote, of the city rising and the kids. So those are all kind of roll.
Wait. We didn't talk about it. You just complained about
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
well, let's talk about
Okay,
it.
so I think it's a good thing because, yeah, Captain America's literally like, I can't leave a single person behind. And like this, like, get perspective. Look what's
He
going
doesn't
on.
have. Yes, get perspective.
But that's not who he is. He will go till he dies. Only 2 of them had the Iron Man and Thor are the ones that could have done something. So they just needed to. Everyone just like, let's save as many people as we can while Iron Man and Thor get to do their thing to blow this thing up. So it's like they needed to save people, or else Captain
to have
America,
something to do.
Well, they're heroes. Like, what's the point of being a superhero if they don't save the people?
Yeah.
So you said get perspective. That's what I'm talking. That's my problem. Is the perspective, like, in the terms of the size of the Earth, we're looking at like literally like a dust speck is rising from the Earth.
Yeah.
This dust speck is going to obliterate the entire Earth. What are we going to do? What are we going to focus our attention on? The people on the dust speck, or
Well,
I feel
the
like
fact that it's going to obliterate the whole
they-
frickin' planet?
they focused on both because they didn't want the people in Sokovia. I get the side, I get it,
I see what you're
I
saying.
see what you're saying, but that's what makes them each who they are. Like the Iron Man and Thor had to handle the big problem, the giant piece of land up in the sky that's gonna destroy everything once it falls.
Yeah.
But what else was everyone else gonna do? Like
Nothing.
But
Go away.
the thing is, they
no,
were.
they're
eat
gonna
Starbucks.
save the people because they're heroes.
But they were also there when it happened. It's like, well, we're stuck here for one thing. like, while we're here. For Black Widow. Black
already
Widow
here.
chose to come back.
We're already
so
here.
did Hulk.
Okay, or we have Hawkeye giving his let's go
they
get some
had to kill all the
Starbucks
robots.
talk to Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, as far as I can tell from this movie, has basically unlimited powers.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
And so why is Iron Man and Thor doing the saving of the crap? Why isn't Scarlet Witch just like, whoa, and just puts it back down where it belongs? I have a theory.
She was protecting it to not happen too soon. Like, she was part of it. Yeah, she probably should have helped with the part where they were gonna
I
not
don't know if
let
she
it.
could physically do that, though.
I don't know. She
I mean-
stopped a train somehow. And so, you know.
Yeah, but a country's a lot bigger than a train.
I understand that. But, like, they're just, as they set her up, there seems to be no limits, at least yet, in this movie. And so, yeah, the whole last probably 45 minutes of this movie, I was just like,
I would say because they're trying to do 3 things. Yes, like you could argue they should have not worried so much about each individual person on Sokovia, but that's not in their nature. Cap is gonna save everyone.
right.
But so they were trying to evacuate the entire city. They were trying to prevent all of the bots from escaping because,
If
as
one got
problematic
out,
as it is, Ultron was only within those bots, and so they needed to stop that so he couldn't get away in any kind of way. And they were trying to figure out how to stop
Save
the whole
the planet.
country from dropping. So they had 3 things in their group to do, and so she was focused on protecting the core and destroying all the bots. So, I mean, like, that was her role during that. And I could see why she probably should have maybe helped, save the world from the country falling on it and wrecking it. That's a good argument. You could argue she was an experiment, and she maybe doesn't have that kind of control over her powers at this
Or
point.
doesn't know that she
Or
has
doesn't
it.
know,
That's-
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
actually, I think that's what the movie is inclined to lead.
Yeah, I would. That's
Especially
what I
when,
would
like
think.
the next time we see her, that's kind of.
Because when Quicksilver dies, she has an emotional reaction, and
Yeah.
it's very powerful.
That was great.
She didn't control it though. Like that was
Right.
just
That was a
emotion.
great moment. I
was a
loved
great
that
moment.
moment.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Scarlet Witch is a good character. She's
Yeah.
got one of my
I love
favorite
Scarlet
moments in
Witch.
the entire thing. Not this movie, in another one, but I think she's a great character.
So those are all kind of eye rolls, but big eye rolls. The one thing that just is still, and I guess I'm never going to be able to deal with this, is how cocky all of these, well, with the exception of Hulk, how cocky they are. Like when they're fighting and they're bantering, to me it was almost offensive. Because
wow,
they're like just smacking human beings. These are people, and they're killing them and tearing them in half and whatever. And all the time they're like laughing at each other's jokes and all this crap.
Yeah.
Like I can't deal with that. Like that is to me like if we're gonna be heroes, we need to be heroes.
Yeah.
We need to respect that people are dying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are enemies. Yeah, there are opposition. Yes, maybe they have different ways of thinking than us, but people, human beings who have families, blah, 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 are dying. It's not a joke.
Right.
I mean, I realize I sound like a moron now, but
I think
it's really, and especially we saw it in that opening scene that you loved. I was like, what? This is not right. It's not okay.
But he does shoot them in the knee. I don't know. Maybe they're only wounding. You're not wrong. And there's actually The Boys, the TV show, specifically points things like this out in their own show.
Yeah.
Which is like super rated R and stuff. But like
it'll
point things out like this. Like superheroes casually joking about whatever when they kill people.
And I don't know that I'm ever going to... Because I'm assuming it doesn't stop because we think
I feel
funny.
Like most superheroes are guilty of this anyway. Probably like it's a thing in the comics too, because as action is happening within the panels, you get the quips.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But
also they're Nazis.
That's the thing. Like the opening scene, they're attacking back. Like it's different. I would agree with the scene when they're in Korea, the car chase when they're trying to get the cradle back. I'm like, they're crashing all these cars. Like Captain America gets thrown onto so many windshields just in that scene.
Right.
It turns into Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and
logic. As long as there's a car, it's a soft, fluffy cushion.
I was like, yeah. That to me, that's the action sequence that I'm like, that it has the most unbelievable action in it of all of the ones in this movie.
Yeah. So I have one more massive eye roll.
Okay.
The Waters of Sight. Really?
Yeah.
Really? Really? That's all I need to say about that. That is the biggest bull crap I've seen yet. There just happens to be this little pool that's just randomly there that's connected to everything else, and all you have to do is take a bath in it, and you can see whatever that is. Oh my gosh. I almost threw something at my screen.
My least favorite thing about this movie is Thor doesn't have a lot to do.
Yeah.
In this whole movie. In fact, that whole scene that takes place in Korea, he's just not even there for it. He's taking a bath.
Yeah.
And they cut down the pool stuff because the studio said for all the stuff that Joss Whedon wanted for that, they would have had to cut out the farm more. And he's like, we're not sacrificing the farm.
Good call there.
I'll be honest, pretty much every time I watch this, especially before the other movies that scene set up came out, my brain kind of checked out during that part where he's in the pool. I'm like, I didn't really know what the Infinity Stones were at that point because that hadn't, that wasn't a big thing quite yet. So my brain kind of checked out of that part, and then he comes back and Vision's there. So then we're back.
Did you ever see How It Should Have Ended?
I'm sure I did, but I haven't
He's
seen it
in the pool, and the guy's like, Thor, you promised me there'd be danger.
That's true.
Yeah, he said it would be dangerous, and then he's just hanging out with him.
It's like watching him take a bath.
That's funny.
So yeah, I think it's, less tight. I did see at least one person online compare this to a TV show, where like the segments of the movie act like more a TV show than a movie, and that does jar with people. Like The Farmhouse is one episode of a TV show where we settle down and talk, as opposed to how can we keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And then like different segments could be split up. But like Joss Whedon comes from TV, that's kind of like maybe what his thing is. And I think it works, but I think, especially at the time, because a lot of people are like, this one's not good. I think like people looked at the flow and like had issues with it.
Yeah. It's not bad, I don't think.
I would say that it needed it for the flow. I would say that it needed that moment of calm.
Yeah, the farmhouse was awesome.
It needed a second to not, because there were several long action scenes in this, and some were better than others. I don't love the one in Korea because I feel like it had the most problematic things happening in it, but
Yeah.
It needed that moment after they see their worst fears for them to try and figure
Deal
out
with
what
it.
they're going to do
Yeah.
next. Especially because after that part, Hulk is technically, they're like, there's not a warrant for his arrest yet, but it's probably coming because, you know, they did
Yeah.
just, you know, have a pretty big disaster.
And that's when Quicksilver and Wanda, they kind of step away from Vision. Because, like, wait, you're going to destroy everything? It's like, yeah, you'll get it. Don't worry, you'll get it when we're all dead. That's all my negatives, I guess.
But like that scene that you were just talking about just kind of highlights what I keep saying about the Avengers. The only person in that scene that was emotionally responding to or intellectually responding to what they'd just done was Hulk, was Bruce Banner. Like you can see him just like the weight of that settle on him, and everyone else is just like driving the car and, you know, fiddling with whatever. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I hope they add depth to the other people, but at this point, we're what, 10? Is this the 10th movie?
10th or 11th.
I'm not sure that it's going to happen. So
I disagree with you, though, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would say that because Captain America needs his third movie, I think that one has a lot for Captain America to do. I am very curious now what you'll think the next time we see Hulk again. Because, he'll come back, obviously.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
I wonder how
Where's
Hulk
going?
I wonder what you'll think about that one now.
Okay. Well, that's an evil laugh if I ever heard one.
This is where we're going to stop part 1. We have a lot more to say, and so we're splitting up Avengers Age of Ultron. So we're going to stop here. Don't forget to listen to part 2 and up. And, yeah, think critically. We love you. Bye.